اهلا كل الناس وحلقه جديده من Exotic Log with Arabic Mike.
أهلا وسهلا في قناتي.
حبيبي.
It's great to meet you.
It's a pleasure.
I know what you're thinking. This isn't Exotic Logs. This is an imposter. Exotic Logs has long hair. Well, turn around for us. It's there. It is there. This is really Exotic Logs.
But I want to ask you something.
Yeah, go for it.
You tell me about the relationship in the British people. The relation between the teenager or the married or like.
Yeah.
How is it?
What, girls and boys?
Yeah.
Interesting topic.
Because most of my channel is talking about this stuff.
Yeah. No, I know it's about relationship, girls, boy, and kissing. Yeah. It's funny. Busa. And I mean, just straight away off the bat, relationships and girls and boys, being a teenager in the UK is incredibly different from being a teenager in the Middle East. Now, obviously, within the Middle East, being a teenager in Saudi is different from being a teenager in Tunisia, different from Morocco, different from Egypt. Every country is different, but generally speaking, being a teenager in the UK is very different. You can have girlfriends whenever you want, I'm in my 20s now. We're talking years ago. I'm an old man, but I guess I had girlfriends when I was young. Like I had a girlfriend when I was like a kid. I'd like give her a Christmas present and stuff, and then it just kind of goes on. My first serious girlfriend, kind of teenagers, 14, 15, 16. And then by the time you're at uni, you've had a few girlfriends already. So I don't know how that's different.
Yeah, but the point here, for example, you have a girlfriend, a boyfriend, then most of this relation is not end up with a marriage, right?
Oh, of course not. No, I mean, like when you marry someone,
I mean,
you've reached a stage,
for example,
which
in Arab, when you go in a relation like that, خلاص you plan to marry.
Yeah.
You are planning, خلاص, okay, you make something like engagement. After that, you're planning to marry this girl. But in the UK and Americans, like they are boyfriend, girlfriend, sometimes then. Next time.
Just
the point how you overcome this. It's it's exhausting for your feelings. Really hard.
It's kind of something which almost every teenager goes through. Every teenager gets their heart broken, whether that's a boy getting their heart broken by a girl or a girl getting their heart broken by a boy. It works both ways. And like once you've done it once, then it's easier the second time.
Your heart broken again?
Yeah. No, seriously. So
I want to tell you this for the Arab girls especially, because for the Arab girls, when for example, one time you have a boyfriend or an engagement, then it's a breakup and like that.
Yeah.
Depressed and go in a depression mode.
Yeah.
And she hate all the guys and she hate her life.
No.
That's happened in Arab a lot.
I think we have a less serious and certainly less conservative approach to relationships. Without going too much into any personal life, but to take me as an example, I probably had like 10 girlfriends of maybe a year.
Mashallah.
So but that's not unusual. That's not unusual. Like my family and friends, some of them have had long relationships which have lasted 5-6 years, maybe 8-9 years, and then ended. And that happens a lot now. You get more and more people now in the UK, and I think maybe in the US as well, who are together from like 17 through to like 26, and then they just kind of break up, and it's like, oh well, why did that happen? And it's kind of hard thing to explain, but I mean, I think, like I said, it's something which gets easier with time. And if you can learn to love yourself and just be happy with who you are, and realize that if you are with someone, then that person should not be the source of your total contentment and exception. Would you agree? Would you agree with that?
I agree.
I think that's the key, because if a relationship ends, that's not your fault.
Yes.
It's not even their fault. It's like it takes two to make a relationship. It takes two to break a relationship, and sometimes it just won't work out. Sometimes you with every relationship you learn things.
Yes.
And then that makes you a better...
To avoid same situations in the future.
Exactly. It makes you a better boyfriend, a better husband, a better...
Say that. Perfect. It's a king.
Yeah. Amazing.
It's a king, man.
So I mean, you can talk in as much detail as you like now, but tell me about your experience as an Egyptian guy. You've lived all over the world. You've lived in Malaysia, the Philippines, Dubai, Kuwait,
Thailand.
Qatar, Thailand. Like, you've lived in lots of different places. So you also have a pretty good appreciation for different cultures and the way different countries do things. So tell me about your experience as an Egyptian guy growing up in Egypt with girls and boys. Like, I've told you my story. Tell me yours. Off camera.
See, I will tell you something. In Egypt, as you said before, in Egypt, the relation or the talking, even if in the work or something, there is a boys, girls. There is a limit and everything, but all are friendly and talking. You can hang out, go to cafes, it's like that. For example, when you go in a work here like in Saudi Arabia, like in Qatar, in the Gulf, there's a lot of restrictions. You can't go in this way.
Sure.
Yeah, خلاص. What happened in Egypt, the way you are talking, even I'm talking in the normal way, the way you are talking, everything, you have to change this.
Yeah, it's frowned upon, and it's not accepted, is it?
It's not accepted at all. It makes a lot of problems. So you have to be, straightforward, not talking in, like a teenager, like a, you know what I mean.
You can't be playful.
Yeah.
At
all. It's not accepted at all, and it makes a lot of problems here.
Yeah.
So this was the first thing when I came. It's like culture shock, and you see a lot of people from different nationalities. You'll see in the work, you'll see from Greece, from America, from the UK.
Yeah.
So you have to know how to deal with all that. Most of the people when they come here, as an Egyptian, for example, the first thing they face is the culture shock.
Yes.
In Egypt, you do something, and suddenly you see here something. And for example, if you go in here like an international company or multinational company, you see that it's normal for hugs and talking.
Sure.
But in Egypt, we don't do that. So
No.
you don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
It's work or it's not good or it's good. So this is the shock you will get and after that, when I travel to Thailand and go Malaysia, it's a totally different thing.
You're more relaxed. You don't have to worry so much about what you do.
You live what you are. You are not acting.
Yourself.
You are not being yourself. دلوقتي بقى أنا عايز أسأل مايك على حاجة بقى من المواضيع بتاعتنا. احنا عايزين نسأله على هو اتعامل عشان هو بينزل بلاد عربية كتير. you've been in Kuwait before, Saudi Arabia like that. راح بلاد عربية كتير, فهو برضو تعامل معاهم معانا في البلاد دي كتير. فعايز أسأله سؤال كده بصراحة يعني محيرني. Mike, of course you're interviewing for many Arab countries, right? And you have seen a lot of Arab girls and Arab women. So tell me, how you feel when you are talking to them? What's the mentality, their way when they are talking to a foreigner? They don't know you. Of course, it's different from the UK.
Yes, very different. I've made several videos called Chatting with Arabs. I did Chatting with Arabs in London, in Geneva, in Annecy, France, mostly in Europe, and I tried to do one here. Now, what I've noticed is that if I talk to a guy, like someone like you, like 20s, 30s, whatever, they'll talk to me, and we'll have a great conversation. Talking to a girl, they don't want to talk to me. I don't know if they're scared, like they're a bit more withdrawn, they're a bit more frightened, they're less willing to talk. They kind of shut down. So I'll say, hi, assalamu alaikum, ممكن نصور فيديو معك? No. Yeah. So I get that a lot, and that's fine. I'm used to it. Occasionally, I can think of maybe 2 or 3 girls that I've been able to chat with, and those were like young girls, and I was actually talking to their dad, and he was like, talk to my daughter, and I was like, okay, fine. But anyone who's older, it doesn't really work. It doesn't really work, and they kind of they're just a little bit more withdrawn. They're not used to talking to guys
because it's shy or something.
And that's just the way the way that they are because of the experiences they have or haven't had. So I totally get that.
طب عايزين نتكلموا مع الراجل. يعني الراجل بيتكلم نتكلم معاه ما فيهاش حاجه يعني بنتعرف على بعض اكتر ما فيهاش اي مشكله خالص.
Guys, check out Exotic Logs. You can see his favorite video up there and some other videos around here. Subscribe for more. Leave a comment because I do read them, and tell us what you would like to what kind of topics you might like us to talk about again. And yeah, thanks for coming, and until next time, Matt, Salama.
Exotic Log Arabic mic.
Yes.